Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To get your own very copy of Qasas Al-Nabiyīn Part 1, Special Edition, which features extensive vocabulary, grammatical analysis, rhetorical elements, syntactical insights, Quranic linguistics, overview of verb patterns, diacritical mark reference tables, Hansware dictionary abbreviations, over 1000 word forms, then click in the link in the description below. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We have the title here and we have the first word, which is Ibrahim. Now, Ibrahim, noun at the beginning of a sentence, we know that it's known as mubtada'un, and mubtada is marfu. So we're going to say Ibrahimu, and that's with a single dhamma because the word Ibrahim is ghayr munsarif. So we're not going to say Ibrahimun, we're going to say Ibrahimu. And the two causes of Ibrahim being ghayr munsarif, one is that it's a proper noun, alam, and the second one is that it's a non-Arabic word, ujma. Next, we have this verb here. This is from kasara yaksiru. So we're going to say yaksiru, and it's going to be marfu with a dhamma because there's nothing governing it before. So there's no words like anlan kay idan, there's no lamul amr, etc. So nothing's put in the state of nasb or jazm. Next, we have the word al-Asnam, which means idols. Now, how we're going to read this? We're going to read this with a fatha, mansub with a fatha. Why? Because inside yaksir we have the verb, which means breaks. We have the fa'il, which means he breaks, which refers back to Ibrahim, and that leaves al-Asnam to become the maf'ul bihi. So maf'ul bihi we know is mansub, so it's going to be al-Asnama. So Ibrahim breaks the idols. Ibrahimu yaksirul asnama. Let's move on to our next, the beginning of the story. So this wow will say it's ibtida'iyah. So it's a wow which comes for commencement, so something new starting. So we're starting a new story. You can even possibly consider this to be atifatun if you connected it to the previous story. But it's mabni, so it's going to be with a fath. Mabniyun al-fath. Ja'a is a past tense verb. Past tense verbs are considered to be mabni, indeclinable. So this is also going to have a fath. Ja'a. Ja'a means came. So what came? Day. So this word is going to be marfu. Why? Because it's the fa'il of ja'a. This is what came. Day. So remember here, this is not maf'ul fi dharf zaman. This is the day is acting as the fa'il of ja'a. This is what came. So day of festival. So the word yom is not going to have a tanween because it's mudaf. That will make the word Eid mudaf ilayh. So waja'a yomu Eidin. Waja'a yomu Eidin. And the day of Eid came. Next we have the particle here, fa, which comes for sababiyya here because as a result the people were happy. So the coming of Eid was a cause of people becoming happy. So we can probably even say this is a causative fa, but whatever the case, the fa is a particle. It's going to be mabniyun al-fath. Now the next word, we have to know which verb pattern it's from. And this is from sami'a yasma'u, so we're going to say fariha. And the vocabulary is mentioned in the book in detail. So anybody who wants to purchase the book, you'll have the full breakdown of vocabulary in the book. So fariha, past tense verb, is going to be mabniyun al-fath. Who was happy? The people. So the people is the fa'il, so it's going to be marfu with a dhamma, because fa'il is marfu. But what we've already done, it's a particle, so it's going to be mabniyun al-fath. Kharaja, past tense verb, came out. Who came out? The people. So kharaja is a past tense verb, fi'l al-madin, mabni again. An-nas is the who came out, that's the people. That's going to be marfu with a dhamma. Wa kharaja an-nasu. And the people came out. What did they come out for? For the festival. So the li is harful jar, so mabniyun al kasr. Then we have the word Eid. This is going to be majroor with a kasra because it follows on from the harful jar. So it's going to be lil-Eid. And the people came out for Eid. Next we have and again, mabniyun al-fath. Kharaja, mabniyun al-fath again. And who else came out? Well, you can't leave the children alone at home. So the children came out as well. So wa kharajal atfalu. So atfal is the file of kharaja. So file is marfu. It's going to have a dhamma. Again, wa kharaja. We've done this. And came out. Who came out? Okay, so this is the main person in the story. Father. So walid is father. And it's becoming the fa'il of kharaja, so it's going to be marfu with a dhamma. Wa kharaja walidu. But because it's involved in a possessive phrase, we're not going to say walidun. Because father of Ibrahim. So walid is marfu with a single dhamma because it's mudaf. Ibrahim that's going to make Ibrahim the mudaf ilayh. Father of Ibrahim. And we know that Ibrahim is غير munsarif. And غير munsarif words in the state of jar, they actually have a fatha without tanween. So that's why we're saying وَخَرَجَ وَالِدُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. And Ibrahim's father came out. Wa again, particle mabniyun al-fath. Qala is a verb which means said. So that is also going to be mabniyun al-fath. And he said, so there's a pronoun inside qala which refers back to the father. He said to who? Ibrahim. So Ibrahim follows on from a harful jar. So if Ibrahim is a غير munsarif word in the state of jar, it's going to have fatha bila tanween. وقال لإبراهيم. We're not going to say وقال لإبراهيم. Hamza is harful istifham. Are you not going to come out with us? So la is particle as well. Both are mabni. The Hamza is mabniyun al-fath. The la is mabniyun al-sukun. The next verb is the imperfect tense of kharaja. So this is from bab nasara yansuru. So are you not going to come out with us? So this is going to be takhruju. Takhruju. It's in the state of raf because there's nothing governing it. So it's going to be ala takhruju. Are you not going to come? Next word we have is ma'a, which is maf'ul fi dharf makan. Because when you say with, it shows place. Maf'ul fi is mansoob. So it's going to be ma'a. And it works with idafa, so there's no tanween. Because sometimes this word can be ma'an, which means together, but with us. And the na is a pronoun. Pronouns are considered to be mabni, so this can be mabniyun ala sukun. Qala, which means said. Who said? Ibrahim said. So qala is a past tense verb, mabniyun ala al-fath. Ibrahim said. So Ibrahim is the fa'il, the one who's doing the action, so he's the doer. Ibrahim is going to be marfu with a single dhamma. Why? Because it's غير munsarif. So we're not going to say Ibrahimun. What did Ibrahim say? Whatever Ibrahim said is now going to be treated as a separate sentence. So ana means I, so it's a pronoun. Pronoun at the beginning of a sentence will be considered to be mubtada'un. Because it's a pronoun, we're going to say it's mabniyun ala sukun. Ana, with the alif. So if ana is a noun at the beginning of a sentence, because we're going to treat ana saqim as an individual sentence, which becomes a statement, that leaves saqim to become the khabar of ana. So if saqim is a khabar is marfu. So we're going to say saqimun. Ana saqimun. Ibrahim said, I am ill. I am sick. I'm unwell. So that's first 3 lines done. Let's move on. Gone a bit too further up. Now, what means and? Mabniyun al-fath. Dhahaba means went. So from bab fataha yaftahu. So dhahaba. Who went? The people. So the people is the fa'il. So it's going to be marfu with a dhamma. What means and? Baqiya. This means to remain. So there's 2 possibilities here. You can either say baqiya yabqa. So from bab sami'a yasma'u, or you can say baqa yabqi. But we're going to make it from baqiya. Because why? We can see the 2 dots under the ya, so that means we'll have to give the ya haraka. So we're going to say baqiya. Otherwise, if we're reading baqa, then there would not be two dots on the ya. So baqiya, which means remained. Who remained? Ibrahim. So Ibrahim is the doer of baqiya, it's the fa'il. Ibrahim is going to be marfu with a single dhamma. Why? Because it's the fa'il of baqiya and also is غير munsarif. It's partially declinable. Fi means in, so preposition mabniyun ala sukun. Okay, so the fi actually we're joining on to the word al-bayt, so the sukun will go onto the lam. Bayt is a noun that follows on from the harful jar, so it's going to be with a kasra, fil bayti. And Ibrahim remained in the house. Then we have the word wa, which means and. Ja'a means came. So ja is past tense verb, so mabniyun al-fath. Who came? Ibrahim. So Ibrahim is doing the action of coming, so Ibrahim is fa'il. And fa'il is marfu, but with a single dhamma because Ibrahim is ghayr munsarif. Where did he come? He came to the idols. So ila is a harful jar, mabniyun ala sukun, because when you read ila, it actually ends with a sukun. He came to the idols. So al-Asnam follows on from the harful jar, ila, so it's going to be majroor with a kasra, ila al-Asnami. Waja Ibrahimu ila al-Asnami, and Ibrahim came to the idols. Now moving on to our next word, waqala, and he said. So wa is a particle, mabniyun ala al-fath. Qala is a verb, past tense verb, mabniyun ala al-fath. The fa'il is inside, which refers to Ibrahim. And he said, li is harful jar, mabniyun ala sukun. He said to who? The idols. So asnam follows on from harful jar. So it's going to be waqala lil asnami. Now what did Ibrahim al-Islam say to the idols? Ala tatakallamun. So hamza is harful istifham, mabniyun al-fath. The la is for negation. So do you not speak? Can you not talk? Tatakallamun is in the rough state. So the noon will be retained. Ala tatakallamuna. Had this verb been in the state of nasb or jazm, the noon would have been dropped off. So ala tatakallamun. Again, hamza is mabni, harful istifham. La is a particle of negation, mabniyun ala sukun. Tasma'un is from sami'a yasma'u. Tasma'un, it's in the rough state because there's no governing words before it, so the noon will be retained. So, do you not talk? Do you not listen? Can't you hear? Ala tasma'un. Nah, the noon will remain. Then we have this is part of the statement, so we have hadha. Hadha is mabni, so it don't change, so it's mabniyun ala sukun. Hadha is mabniyun ala sukun. Okay? So remember, it's a noun at the beginning of a sentence. A noun at the beginning of a sentence because this is a separate statement is saying. So that means that word hadha, it still will experience a state. What state would he experience? The state of raf, the nominative case, because it's mubtada'un. That will make ta'am become the khabar. And we know khabar is marfu. That's why we're saying hadha ta'amun. This is food. Now we're adding on to food. So we're saying wa sharab. Now the word we add will be known as ma'tuf, and that follows the i'rab of the word added onto. So sharab is going to follow the i'rab of ta'am because that's what it's been added onto. So ta'am was in the state of raf because it's khabar. Sharab is in the state of raf because it's doing atf on ta'am. Not because of the khabar, because it's doing atf on ta'am. So hadha ta'amun wa sharabun, this is food and drink. Hamza again, harful istifan, mabni al-fath, la, negation. Ala ta'kulun, so this is from akala ya'kulu. So you've got to know the verb pattern here to know the vowel markings of this verb. Ala ta'kulun, so are you not going to eat? This is food and drink. Ala ta'kuluna. So the noon is going to be retained because there's no governing words before it. ala. Now this verb is from shariba yashrabu. So ala, we've already done that before. So tashrabun. Now when it comes to verbs, you got to know your vocabulary to know the vowel markings. The ending of the words will be decided on if there's words governing it. But in terms of the pronunciation of verbs and even nouns, you need to know the vocab. Okay, and that's why we have a vocab section in the book. Tashrabun. So are you not going to, do you not drink, or are you not going to drink? So tashrabun. The noon will be retained because there's no governing words before it. So tashrabun, ala tashrabun, the fi'l mudari is in the rough state. Now carrying on, we see what happens next. So wa means and. Sakatat, this is from nasara yansuru, sakata yaskutu, which means to remain silent. So the verb is wasakatat, but because we're joining onto the word al-asnam, it's going to become sakatatil. Why? Because when you have two sukoons together, so sakatat, the ta would have a sukoon, and in al-asnam, okay, there would be a sukoon there as well. So then you give the first one a kasra. So it became wasakatatil asnam. Who remained silent? The idols. So the idols are doing the action of sakata. So that will be the fa'il, and fa'il is marfu. So we're going to give a dhamma. Wasakatatil asnam. Why did they stay quiet? لِأَنَّهَا. So li is a particle. So it's going to be mabniyun ala al-kasr. Anna is also particle, mabni. So mabniyun ala al-fath. لِأَنَّ. Ha is a pronoun which refers back to the idols. That is also going to be mabniyun ala sukoon. So لِأَنَّهَا. Because they are. What are they? Hijara. So the word hijara, we can see before it, we've got the word anna before it. And we know anna, it has a ism and it has a khabar. The ism is mansoob. So here the ism is come as a pronoun. Annaha, which refers back to the idols. That will leave hijara to become the khabar of anna. Hijara will become the khabar of anna. So if hijara is becoming the khabar of anna, it's going to be marfu. So hijaratun. So why did the idols remain silent? Because they are stones. Hijaratun marfu. That do not speak. So la particle. So now this verb is from nataqa yantiqu, okay, which means to speak. So la tantiqu, to express, to speak, to articulate. So they are stones which cannot speak or that do not articulate themselves. So la tantiqu. So the fi'l mudari here is marfu. Marfu. There's no governing words before it. Next we have qala, which means said. Mabniyun al-fath, past tense verb. Who said? Ibrahim. So Ibrahim is becoming the fa'il. So it's going to be marfu, but with a single dhamma because it is ghayr munsarif. Qala Ibrahim. What did Ibrahim say? Ma lakum. Ma is ismu istifham. So what? And lakum means, this is a phrase used in Arabic, ma lakum. When somebody wants to say, what's the matter with you? They can phrase it with ma ismu istifham with a prepositional phrase. So ma laka. It actually implies the meaning ma tasna'u. What are you doing? Or ma taf'al. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? We see this phrase used in the Quran as well. وَمَا لِيَ لَا أَعْبُدُ الَّذِي. When Habib the carpenter, he was addressing his people, but rhetorically he was just referring to himself. What's the matter with me? I don't worship the one who created me. وَمَا لِيَ لَا أَعْبُدُ الَّذِي فَطَرَنِي وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ, and to whom you shall return. So there he's used the phrase ma li. What's wrong with me? So ma lakum. Ibrahim as-salam is addressing the idols. He's even used the rational address. Ma lakum. Kum is used for la tantiqun. This is used for plural masculine. To even further emphasize the state that you're taking them to be rational entities, but they're not. Ma lakum la tantiqun. I'm addressing them as rational beings, but they're not expressing themselves. So ma is ismu istifham. It's used for questioning, so it's mabniun ala sukun. Lam here is harful jar. So مبني على الفتح. Kum is a ضمير. So it's going to be مبني على السكون. ما لكم. And this is a phrase. La is a particle of negation. And تنطقون, we said it's from ضرب يضرب. So it's going to be لا تنطقون. It's going to be in the state of raf, the verb we were talking about. لا تنطقون, because there's no حروف ناسبة or جازمة before it. However, the phrase itself, لا تنطقون, as a jumla, is in the state of nas because it's becoming the hal of the zamirin ma lakum. Okay, so that's more got to do with the tarkib side of things. So Ibrahim al-Islam said, ma lakum la tantiqun. What's the matter with you? You do not speak. You're not speaking. So wa mabni al-fath, which means and sakatat, we've already done this, remain silent. Who remains silent? The idols, so al-asnam. Idols remain silent, that's the fa'il, and they did not speak. Wama, so both are particles, both will be mabni. Nataqat, past tense verb, so mabniyun ala sukun here. So nataqat, actually it'll be mabniyun al fath, and the ta would be the zamir, which is mabniyun ala sukun. Or you can say here is the pronoun inside, which refers back to al-asnam. So wama nataqat. Let's move on. We have hina idhin. So we've done this word before. Hina means moment. So it's hina with a fatha, because it's maf'ul fi. When you say at that moment, when you say the word moment, it refers to time. And adverbs of time in Arabic language are mansub. And so it's going to be hina. The next word is, which means that. So at that moment. But because we don't say hina is, we say hina idhin, because the tanween is representing something which has been omitted. So at the moment of the idols remaining silent. So hina is sakatatil asnamu ghadiba Ibrahim. So at the moment when the idols remain silent, so the sentence sakatatil asnam has been omitted, and in place of that the tanween has been added to the word is. That's why we said hina idhin. So one word is hina, one word is, and then we have the tanween to express the omitted sentence, sakatatil asnam. So in English, we'll just simply translate as at that moment. But there's actually quite a few words coming into play. Ghadiba is from sami'a yasma'u, so past tense verb. So it's going to be mabni. So mabniyun al-fath. Who became angry? Ibrahim. He had every right to become angry. So Ibrahim is the fa'il of ghadiba. So it's going to be marfu with a dhamma, because غير منصرف one dhamma. So ghadiba Ibrahim. And what means and? Akhadha means held, okay, or grabbed. Now, who grabbed what? Ibrahim grabbed al-fa's. So inside akhadha we have the fa'il, which refers back to Ibrahim. That will make the word al-fa's the maf'ul bihi, because that's what he got hold of, the axe. Wa akhadha al-fa'sa, and he got hold of the axe. So al-fa'sa is mansub with a fatha because it's the maf'ul bihi. Next we have is what, which means and. Daraba, past tense verb, mabniyun al-fath. Wa daraba, and struck. Who struck? Ibrahim. So Ibrahim is the fa'il. Wa daraba Ibrahimu. And who did Ibrahim strike? The idols. So that's who the action is done upon. It says maf'ul bihi with a fatha, mansub with a fatha. He struck with, so B is harful jar, mabniyun al-kasr. He struck with the axe. The axe follows the preposition, so it's going to be bil fa'si majrur with a kasra. And what means and? Kasra means broke. Now, who broke? He broke, which refers back to Ibrahim. And what did he break? The idol. So al-asnam is going to be maf'ul bihi, mansub with a fatha. So wa kasara al-asnama. I think, oh yes, we've got a bit more left of the story. وَكَسَرَ الْأَصْنَامَ. So what means and? Taraka means to let go. So this is from Nasara Yansuru. So taraka yatruku. So what taraka and let go. Who let go? Ibrahim. To let go, to spare. Ibrahim. So Ibrahim is the fa'il and it's going to be marfu with one dhamma, غير munsarif. Who did Ibrahim alayhi salam let go? As-sanama. So the idol, that's going to be maf'ul bihi. So as-sanama is maf'ul bihi of taraka, because that's who Ibrahim spared. Then we have the sifa of as-sanam, the biggest idol. And we know sifat follows man'ut wal mawsuf in i'rab. So al-akbara is the sifa of as-sanama, or you can say it's the nat of as-sanama, which is man'ut, the biggest idol. So that's why I said al-akbara, as-sanama al-akbara. Wa means and. Now this is from bab taf'il. Wa allaqa, which means to hang. So past tense verb will say he hung. So wa allaqa, and the fa'il is hidden inside, which refers back to Ibrahim. And he hung. What did he hang? Al-fa's, the axe. So the axe is maf'ul bihi. And he hung the axe. Fi is harful jar. So it's mabniun ala sukun. Unuq follows the preposition, so it's going to be in the state of jar. So we're going to say unuqi. And he is a pronoun mabniyun ala al-kasr. Fi unuqihi. So alhamdulillah, that is story number 4. The whole grammatical aspects covered of story number 4. Okay, so let's see if we can just probably bring that there. Okay, so let's just look at story number 4 at a glance. So there we have story number 4 complete in terms of covering the whole grammatical aspects. So if anybody is interested, obviously, to learn the full vocabulary of these verbs, so we have ja'a yaji'u, eidun plural a'yad, fariha yafrahu, kharaja yakhruju, even the abwab, the meanings, the singular and plural words, tiflun atfal, saqimun suqama'u, from bab karuma yakruma, also from samiya yasma'u as well. So fa'sun, which means axe, the plural is fu'usun, unuq, which means neck, a'naq is the plural, allaqa yu'alliqu, ta'liq from bab taf'il, it means to hang. Okay, so with the root letters are mentioned here as well. So the whole grammatical breakdown of the whole story can be found in the actual book, the physical copy. So this is the whole breakdown of what we have just covered, and even more, because there are certain aspects where we do mention, like here we have وَجُمْلَةُ لَا تَنْتِقُونَ فِي مَحَلِّ نَصْبٍ حَالٌ مِّن ضَمِيرِ الْمَجْرُورِ كُمْ. So even sentences, they have grammatical functions as well. So thereafter we have the rhetorical points. Let's choose 1-2 rhetorical points we can elaborate upon inshallah today. So we can see here that in the story, the mode of itnab has taken place. Itnab means where the sentence is prolonged and extended, contrast to the meaning, for a rhetorical benefit. So the sentence says, وَخَرَجَ النَّاسِ, the people came out. That included everyone. But we see the verb kharaja being repeated, then we see that there's elaboration upon something which is ambiguous, brief. So when you say the people came out, that's sufficient. But then it says the children came out, kharaja al-atfalu. Then it says Ibrahim's father came out, and he left and he exited. He left the house for Eid. In other words, to say everyone came. So this is a rhetorical point. Sometimes ellipsis takes place. So if we see in the sentence, ijaz has taken place, which is an aspect of brevity. So we see here that it says وَخَرَجَ الْأَطْفَالُ, but the word لِلْعِيد is not mentioned. Relying اعتمادا على تقدم ذكره. Rely upon that which has been mentioned before. In terms of rules, we can probably mention some rules here. So we see here, هذا طعام وشراب. We see that atf takes place between sharab and طعام. Now, atf, when we look at atf, okay, joining one word to another, there's actually a few types of atf you can have. عطف الشيء على مغايره, atf upon something which is, different to what has been, conjoining something with something which is different. And that's the asal, that's the original function of atf. For example, someone says, رأيت محمدا وخالدا. I saw Muhammad and Khalid. Khalid and Muhammad, they're two different people. You can even have عطف الشيء على مرادفه, conjoining something to that which is synonymous. So somebody says, هذا كذب وافتراء, or كذب وافتراء. This is, falsehood and fabrication. Iftira'un already means the same thing as kadhib, which means, a lie. But you can even do atfu shay ala muradifihi. You can do atf upon something which is synonymous. You can have atful am al khas. So you can conjoin something which is, something general to something which is specific. So here we have in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَاكَ سَبْعًا مِنَ الْمَثَانِ, and we revealed, and we gave you the 7 oft repeated ones. And then it says, وَالْقُرْآنَ الْعَظِيمِ, and the glorious Quran. So the Quran is general, but in the Quran we have the 7 oft repeated verses, which is Surah Al-Fatiha. So this is Atful Am al-Khas. You can even have Atful Khas al-Am. You can conjoin something which is specific to that which is general. So man kana aduwwan lillahi wa malaikatihi wa rusulihi wa Jibril wa Mikala. And whoever is an enemy of Allah and His angels and His messengers, and then it says Jibril and Mikail. Jibril and Mikail, they are already included in the angels, but they have been specifically mentioned because of their status. So this is Atful Khas and Al-Am. So these are things, that have been mentioned in the book as extra, beneficial points for grammar. You can have atfu sifat, ba'duha la ba'd. So, conjoining some multiple attributes to one another. Okay, so for example here, سبح اسم ربك الأعلى, سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق, and then it says فسوى. Then after that it says والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى. So glorify, the name of your Lord, the High, the Great. And then الذي خلق فسوى, the one who created and He perfected. So here we can see the name of your Lord. So one sifa of the Lord is Al-A'la, another sifa is الذي خلق فسوى. Then there's atf taking place and another sifa has been mentioned, الذي قدر فهدى, the one who has decreed and guided. Okay, and then there's another sifa with the harf atf, الذي أخرج المرعى. So you can have, if you're mentioning, sifats, and which categorically become another attribute itself, you can conjoin that with the conjunctive particle. So these are extra points that are mentioned in Qasas Al-Nabiyīn. If anybody is interested, you can log on to the website, or there's a link in the description, inshallah, and you can purchase a copy from there. For now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To deepen your understanding of the Arabic language, explore our range of courses, including Balagha, Arabic Rhetoric, covering the 3 core disciplines of Arabic Rhetoric. The Arab course, which offers a comprehensive study of diacritical markings, and the Tarkib course, focusing on sentence structure and composition, along with many other enriching programs. To learn more, click the link in the description.